Just one actually. There's no clouds on the Leinster horizon. Certainly, it seems. Maybe one is there was a picture yesterday of Joe Schmidt sitting down having a coffee with Joey Carbery. And does anyone here think it'd be a good move for Carbery? I mean, we would all love to eavesdrop on that conversation. Allegedly, Joey Carbery may have said Brian O'Driscoll called him a basket case the other day, but I'm sure Twitter was calm for you then, was it?
I think it would be in some components to his game. Of course, it would be good. It would be regular football. It would be an opportunity to hone his game. We've seen him the last couple of weeks for Leinster, and again, his game management has been the aspect that has let him down. He's unbelievably talented, but you only get that ability to grind out performances and steer your team by playing 80-minute performances, not two starting 10 appearances in Leinster all season, coming off the bench occasionally. And if he's going to be number 2 for Ireland, as Joe Schmidt has clearly earmarked him, I think from that perspective, I'd be taking the advice of my Ireland coach and listening to what he says. And if he's saying go to Ulster, I'd be listening to him, because ultimately, yes, you want to play for your province and you want to win trophies, but you also want to win trophies on a bigger scale. And this World Cup next year and other Six Nations, this Irish team is in a phenomenally good place. The last thing you'd want to do is rule yourself out of that 23 because you haven't gotten enough game time, and someone like Ross Byrne gets more of an opportunity. So
have you changed your mind since last week?
No, I think from Joey perspective, no, I said Jordy Murphy, if he could have his time back, I think he might rethink it. I wasn't suggesting that he should tear up his contract or anything. I just think he might rethink it. Even in a week, things have changed slightly. They've got a new coach. Granted, the word is that he's not coming in until January. I'm not sure how true that is. Seemed a strange call. But I think straight away they look as though at least they're getting some structures in place. There's something to build on. They need to get a 10 in there. They need to sort out their issues with media up north, with separating news media from sports media. So there's small little components that are easy fixes. If you get them right, they've definitely got the talent. They've got the player pool, and they've got young guys like Jacob Stockdale that are like Luke Fitzgerald was 10 years ago. So you just need to feed off that. So I just think I'm frustrated by Ulster because I think they've underachieved over the course of the last 10 years. They're a better team than one losing European final and one Magnus League final. They should have won other trophies, and they didn't. And I think the fans expect more than they've been delivered.
We don't have time to go into everyone. Keith, I haven't heard your thoughts on the Carbery situation.
He needs to be playing 10 if he's back up. I don't think we can get to a World Cup situation where our backup number 10 isn't playing week in, week out. You know,
what about him down to Munster?
Yeah, exactly. If he's on the market, we'll take him. You know? Is he?
Yeah. We'll definitely we'll definitely take him, no problem. I think, look, he needs to play matches, doesn't he, Woody? He needs to, and it's miles on the clock, isn't it?
Well, I think there is. I think there's no way any of us here would say no to that happening. You know, he needs to be playing rugby. When we look back on the World Cup in 2015, and yes, we have injuries and different things happen. But when we now look at it, when you lose big players or whatever, who are the guys that we need to see play? We need to see other guys playing at 9 and other guys playing at 10, because they actually orchestrate how Ireland play.
Besides, one final thing. Besides leaving a team that maybe has a winning culture, might win a European Cup, I think you have to take into account as well the coaching that he's going to get on a day-to-day basis, and you can't underestimate how good the likes of Stuart Lancaster has been for him, and playing under Johnny Sexton, being at training and watching that every single day, because you're only in Ireland camp for a certain amount of period over the course of the season, but your day-to-day stuff playing with quality players. And you only learn from players that are better than you, and there's still a few better than Joey that are better rounded players. Maybe not as much of a talent as him, but are better rounded players. Whereas I don't know, maybe there's one or two in Ulster, but I think he'd go in and he'd be pretty high on their player list.
So sorry, what are you? You're picking at the different sides.
No,
what are you saying then? If you
I would encourage him to go because his national team coach has told him that, you know what, if I'm going to select you, I need you playing 10 more regularly. So you've got to cut your cloth a small bit and you've got to suck it up. So that would be my opinion. If I was told that, that's what I would do.
Right, okay.
I think we have a system here that probably is the envy of a lot of the English teams. The way we look after our players so well in the IRFU, do that job between the provinces and all that. But ideally, like if we have 4 good, really quality out halves in the country, you'd love to have them dotted around the country so they can hop off each other in the interpros and they're playing regular rugby. But you know, sometimes it does come down to the player.
More fighting again. You see that?
Yeah, but
more
it's
fighting again.
It's you know, and I think this is a bigger debate maybe from the RFU point of view. Is, you know, if we're okay to pull players back from their provinces to rest them because they get through the system, should they be dispersing their players around? You know, through the advice of someone like Joe Schmidt, it's probably far the bigger picture, and I think that's the debate. A lot of supporters won't be happy about it.
No, because it tears away at the kind of fabric of what the
absolutely,
and
that's the other argument for it, is the fact that, you know, the great work that the academy are doing to produce these guys, and then someone swoops in and moves them on to somewhere else. That's absolutely the debate. But I think we've created such a great environment for the lads to play their rugby, and this is probably just another element of that to try and get them to the highest level. You know.
Yeah. Last word, Keith.
I think certain elements happen in cycles, and you have to try and remember, even though we're all fans here of one team or the other, Irish rugby really does well when there are 2 or 3, and if we ever got to the point of having 4 teams at the top table doing very, very well, we're in a stronger position. We're in a present period of time where Leinster's system and school system are just churning out players of quality much earlier than the other ones, than the other provinces. And this is a particular period of time. The onus is on the other provinces to try and get their act together better, to try and get more kids coming through at a higher level earlier than they have it. And so we have to try and check in this period of time and see whether we can get the most out of what's actually happening to do it, because you don't want this to be the case every year or every single cycle, because you want to have Munster generating their own players and getting it in and bolstering it with a couple of guys from outside and maybe a couple of guys from Leinster or other places as well. But you want it to be their own guys. You want Munster guys playing for Munster as much as you possibly can. But there's a shortage at the present moment in time. It isn't as good as the Leinster system. It absolutely isn't. So we just need to try and make certain that we have our own, because if the games and the teams aren't successful, numbers drop off, issues happen. So we need to maximise what we have at the present moment in time, but we really need to tidy up some of our structures to make certain that we can have a better balance.